Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha, and if this is your first time stopping by, please subscribe. So this video is long overdue. I've been saying that I'm gonna do this video since last year, since last summer, and I just kept putting it off for some reason. I don't know why. I really couldn't tell you. I guess I'm a little wary about videos like this because I see people who are so happy with the results and who like share it on social media, and then they get all this backlash from mostly men. I'll say it's mostly men who will be saying like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you look so much better before. Obviously, I don't really care what any man has to say, but it definitely makes you feel a little bit weird about sharing the story because there are gonna be some weirdos who might for some reason not be happy for you. But besides that, this is a video I've been wanting to do for so long. So this is my breast reduction story, and I cannot even believe that I could still to this day, I'm just like, wow, I really did it. Like, this is something I've been talking about doing for years, like pretty much since I was still a kid. Like, I wanted to do this for so long, and yeah, I didn't think it would be me. I mean, I knew I would do it eventually one day, but now that it's actually done and it's been a while and I've healed and everything is still great, like I'm just so thankful. So I really wanted to make this video more to share my experience, the steps that I took, because I know people have definitely DM'd me or messaged me on social media asking me like, how did you start? Where do I start? What do I do? How do I do this? And yeah, I pretty much had the same questions. Like, I genuinely didn't know how to approach getting this procedure, so I definitely just wanted to make this video. If you're someone who's been thinking about it, if you're someone who has a friend who's been thinking about it, or you're just interested in seeing how the whole process works, then hopefully you'll enjoy this video. And if you watch this video and you're still confused and you still have some questions, definitely feel free to comment them down below, because a question that you might have, someone else might have, or if you don't feel comfortable, you can always DM me on my Instagram. It's always in the description box below, so feel free to message me privately if you'd like. But without further ado, let's begin this video. Alright, so breast reduction. Why did I even do this? So I'm gonna rewind back a couple years, like pretty much from the beginning when I even wanted to get this procedure. So I'm someone who puberty did not waste any time with. I feel like I started wearing a bra, like a bra for real, like maybe fourth or fifth grade, somewhere around there. And definitely that wasn't the case for most of my classmates. Like, most people were still wearing training bras. I know you all remember training bras, like those cute little bras that we used to wear when we were kids, but I didn't even really wear that a lot. Like, I kind of skipped straight to bras. In my 6th grade, I remember being like at least a D cup or something. Like, my breasts grew very, very fast. Like, I didn't really get a long grace period like most girls did. And I remember just being so insecure. Like, I was as young as like 11, 12 years old, and I just felt so uncomfortable. So yeah, like, again, 6th grade, already a D cup, and most of the clothes that I was wearing didn't really fit. Bras at that age were a lot harder to find, or, you know, once you get to D cup, it's really a lot harder to find bras. Like, you can definitely find double D's, triple D's, but for the most part, it gets a little harder once you pass the D stage. And I'm even gonna assume that I was maybe bigger than a D in 6th grade because my bras never really fit well. Like, I always had spillage and I was just always really uncomfortable. And I just remember, yeah, from like a really young age being super insecure, and that carried on into high school. So shopping was always a nightmare for me because the rest of my frame isn't really that big. So for the most part, I've been like 5'3" my whole life. I'm a shorty, so I was really small. I also just wasn't really wide. Like, for the most part, the rest of my frame was smaller, so it almost like amplified my boobs. I feel like it just made them look a lot bigger than they needed to be. So anytime I was shopping, I couldn't really wear what I wanted because I felt like it was too exposing, or it just made me feel really uncomfortable. I feel like I got weird stares from like creepy guys, you know. Like, it was just, yeah, I wasn't having a good time. Even when we would get our clothes tailored from, you know, any of the African tailors, it would always be a hassle. Like, sometimes my Eid clothes wouldn't fit because, you know, it literally couldn't zip up. Like, there are so many times I had to get alterations because my chest just was too big to fit in any of my clothes. And I think by the time, around the time I got my procedure, I was at least a J cup, maybe J, K, or L, one of those letters. Like, it kind of fluctuated, but that will tell you how big I was. Like, I wasn't even, like, I couldn't go into a normal store and find bras. Like, most people would go to Victoria's Secret, maybe Fenty. Like, people would get all these cute bras, and I was rocking the granny bras from these little lingerie stores that I would find. So there was one I used to go to in Yonkers and Cross County Mall. They were the only place that I could actually find a big size. The store is called Susette's, by the way, if you need bras that if you need bras for a bigger size. But even for more context, like I was even wearing bras bigger than my mom, and my mom has had 4 kids. And yeah, like I don't know, no one else in my family had boobs as big as me, and it just made me feel so, like it made me feel out of place. It just made me feel like, oh my gosh, why did I get so unlucky? Like all these things. So yeah, moral of the story, very, very insecure. So I remember being like, yeah, at least 12 years old and telling myself, like, I don't care when I get it done, how I'm gonna get it done. I was 12 years old with no job. Like my allowance was like $5-10 a week. And I was like, one day when I'm rich, when I'm something, when I'm older, I'm gonna get this procedure done. Like I remember literally dreaming of getting this procedure. Like I just knew that I wanted to do it from such a young age. And one of the things I was also really insecure about was, you know, just going to the gym, because I would find that I would be, you know, really on my healthy stuff. I would be working out, but the thing I really wanted to lose weight on, I couldn't. Like no amount of working out could take my chest down because it was genetic. So yeah, it was like, it just made me feel really insecure about my body, about wanting to like be healthier, because it was like, what's the point? I'm still gonna look the same. Like I can't get rid of this no matter what I do. Like it literally has to be physically removed off of my body. So yeah, college time, I'm definitely still feeling very insecure. I just don't like certain outfits that I'm wearing. I don't feel beautiful when I look in the mirror, all of that stuff. So senior year rolls around, and you know, I'm like, okay, it's new beginnings right now. I'm about to graduate, move back to New York. Maybe I should actually start taking this seriously. And again, I didn't know how much it was going to be. I didn't know if my insurance was going to cover it. I didn't know anything, but I just knew that I wanted to take the first steps, because I didn't want to live my life forever being unhappy. Like life is too short to not be happy with yourself, be confident, to like what you see in the mirror. So I just knew it was time to take the first steps at least. So yeah, I didn't really know where to start, where to look. So I just literally typed in Google, I think like breast reduction, New York City, something along those lines. And it mostly gave me private places in the beginning, so it didn't give me hospitals. It was mostly like plastic surgery clinics, mostly in Manhattan, Upper East Side, so you can imagine how expensive those are. So again, this was last year. This is still COVID time, so a lot of places weren't taking clients, or if they were, you had to at least get a virtual consultation. So I decided to do that at least, and I just called them and said, hey, like I just want to hear my options. I want to see how much could I possibly pay, if there's a payment plan, can my insurance cover this? Like I just wanted to at least start off. And the first place I went to pretty much told me that even with insurance, I could possibly be paying up to like $12,000, which $12,000, I don't know about you, but I don't have $12,000. And they also said that I would have to have documentation from a chiropractor, something along those lines, like a long history of back pain. Even though I did experience back pain, it seemed really excessive to have to go to the chiropractor for a year plus just for you to maybe even get a little bit of financial aid on the procedure. So yeah, I felt like that option didn't feel that realistic. Like it just felt like it was still going to be expensive, it was going to be very lengthy, and I just knew that I wanted the procedure done immediately. Like obviously not right away, but I wanted it to be in the near future, because I just wanted to get it done with. I was like, new beginnings, I need a new body. Like I need to be happy with myself right now. So I was pretty much back to square one from there, and it was actually fate how it really worked out. So one of my closest friends that we went to college together, her name is V. You've definitely seen her in my vlogs, travel vlogs and everything. Her aunt works at Mount Sinai Hospital. So if you're from New York, you definitely know Mount Sinai. They have a bunch of different hospitals mostly around Manhattan, and they're very well known for just being a great hospital, great service, great doctors. And I told her about wanting the procedure and how it was so expensive somewhere else, and she was like, oh my gosh, my aunt is a medical assistant with the plastic surgeon. Like she works directly with the plastic surgeon, and she helps him like when they're seeing patients and everything, and they definitely do breast reductions. So I can give you her number, and you know, maybe you can go in for a consultation and at least see what your options are and see if insurance will cover whatever it is. But you know, maybe you'll have better luck than the private hospital or the private clinic that you were looking at. So at this point I was like, sign me up. Like I don't have anything to lose, because the last place is just asking for a lot, and it was no guarantee that I was gonna even get an affordable price. So this was June 2021, so I got an appointment. I was able to go to the hospital and see them, and I met with this doctor. His name is Dr. Fang, and he's literally the best doctor ever. Like truly felt so blessed that I had him as a doctor for this procedure, because he just made everything so smooth. But I'll obviously go into the procedure part of everything. But I went in, I gave my insurance card, signed everything, pretty much got the consultation, and luckily my insurance did cover things like doctor visits and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people might not have that, like they'd actually have to pay just to even see the doctor. But yeah, luckily I was able to my insurance was able to cover the doctor visit. So during the procedure, he pretty much just asked me questions like, do you have back pain? He took pictures like just to kind of gauge his size. I think they weighed it. I can't remember if they actually did or if that was like in my head or not. So I remember just asking him like, do you think I have a good chance of getting this procedure done or covered by insurance? So he basically told me that I was at least big enough to be considered for this to be considered a medical procedure, because having big breasts does affect your spine, your posture, like it truly does affect you health-wise. So you know, I was pretty much the size. He told me that I could get this medically covered by insurance. So that was the first time that I had heard that at all, and I just got so excited. And he was also very honest with me. He's like, I'm a plastic surgeon, I do lots of procedures, but 100% this is my favorite procedure to do because it has the best results in terms of like just like people's confidence. He said it's not one of those things that you truly have to wait a long time for things to heal before you see results. Like immediately you look in the mirror and you can see that you look smaller, you feel lighter. He also said the confidence of his patients would literally skyrocket after this procedure, and also it was one of the safest procedures that he would do. So he said this is one that, you know, him and a lot of his colleagues agreed like this is one that we love to do because it's not something that has high risk to it. Like for the most part, the side effects are very, very rare, or you know, anything going wrong doesn't really happen as much. So yeah, it's definitely like a safe procedure, and that was really important for me because I've never really got, you know, an operation done, so I was kind of nervous about that. So he made me feel very comfortable and told me that he does this all the time, and you know, I pretty much had nothing to worry about, which is nice. So within the same day, they were able to book me for the procedure. So not actually the same day, let me clarify that. So they booked me for August of the same year. So that was literally only 2 months away, which I thought this was something that it would take so many months. And you know, the last place I went to was telling me it could take over a year to even get the procedure, but they told me within 2 months you could get this done, and it's very likely that insurance is going to cover it. So it just sounded like a dream. I was like, oh my god, this is too good to be true. Like I'm getting this procedure basically done for free, and it's getting done within this summer. Like it just, I was like, thank you God. So before the procedure, I do remember having some appointments just to, you know, check if everything is good, checking your blood pressure, things like that. Like it wasn't very, there weren't very much appointments though, which I love. So finally August came. It was time for my procedure. So I had to go in really, really early in the morning. Like I remember having to get there by at least like 6 a.m. Like I had to wake up super, super early, and they tell you to shower before the procedure, and you're not supposed to put any lotion on, any perfume, any jewelry, nothing. Like you literally shower with just clean, you know, nothing too strong, like no perfumey soaps, and then that's it. You come with comfortable clothes, and yeah, you pretty much get seated. So I went in, just filled some paperwork out, you know, brought my insurance card and everything, and then they took me to the back. So at the back, they pretty much just get you dressed in your gown. They take like your blood pressure, I think, just making sure that everything is good. You also can't eat 12 hours before the procedure or drink anything, so definitely don't do that before the procedure. So while I was waiting, the anesthesiologist came in, and she was amazing as well. I wish I remembered her name. She was truly so kind, but she just also talked to me and really just reassured me that, you know, we do this all the time, and you know, you're in good hands. Like just made me feel really safe. And they were trying to find my veins, I believe, where they would hook me up, you know, while I was doing the operation. So yeah, they just made sure that everything was good before going in, like no high blood pressure, nothing. We could find her veins, everything is all good. And she also let me know how everything was gonna go on her end. So she told me how, you know, they would hook me up once I was in the operating room, and I would have to count down maybe like 10 or something like that, and then eventually I'd fall asleep, and then she would wake me up after the procedure, or I would naturally wake up, and then they're just gonna make sure that I'm okay, and then usually you fall back asleep. You won't remember that first time that you wake up, which I definitely didn't. And then yeah, pretty much after that you rest a bit, and then you can go home the same day. So we went in, and the operating room definitely gave me Grey's Anatomy vibes. I was like, this literally looks like the OR in the show. But I was surrounded by all these kind nurses and assistants, and everyone just made me feel so comfortable. Like I genuinely wasn't nervous. Like I walked in like, okay, I can do this. You're strong. You've been wanting this for so many years. Everything is gonna be worth it in the end. Like it's gonna be worth it. So I remember lying on the bed, and then they did ask me to count back 10, and then that's pretty much where I stopped remembering. Like everyone says, what is it like when you're under? Like it actually kind of is like you're asleep without the dreams though. Like you don't remember anything in between. It's kind of like those nights where you go to sleep, like you were so tired and you didn't dream, like you just randomly woke up, you're like, oh shoot, what time did I fall asleep? Like it's pretty much that exact same experience. So I think the operation took about 4 hours, so it's not too long. Like it's definitely not an all-day procedure. You're able to leave the same exact day. So after the procedure, I do remember kind of waking up being super groggy, like not really knowing what was going on. Like I definitely remember that part. And then I had a nurse by my side the whole time, so she was asking me like, are you okay? I can get you juice or crackers or something like that since you haven't eaten in over 12 hours obviously. And then they also ask you your pain levels, so they were saying like, you know, we can add more ibuprofen or oxy, which is what they prescribed as well, based on your pain levels. So I ended up taking medicine again, I believe. I took the oxy, but that was the only time I took it because they did recommend to go for ibuprofen instead. They do prescribe you a very high dosage of ibuprofen, and the oxy is just way too strong. Like I took it and I was so woozy, I almost passed out when I was walking. Like it was just way too strong, so I didn't take it anywhere outside of the hospital. So after maybe about a couple of hours of resting at the hospital and everything seemed good, my blood pressure was good, like everything looked normal, they sent me home. So my mom came and picked me up, and then they usually prescribe the medicine right away and then send it to the pharmacy or send you to pick it up from the pharmacy the same day. So we drove to the pharmacy right away and picked up the medicine. So around that time I was definitely feeling very woozy from the oxy still, so it was very hard to walk. And you know, like it takes a little while to come down from the medicine, or a couple of hours at least. But I remember going home, just eating, you know, just relaxing. You can't really shower that well within the first few days. You kind of have to, you know, wipe yourself down, just because they don't want you to get the bandages wet. But yeah, I pretty much slept. I slept a lot that first day. Like I just rested a lot because I was still really woozy from the medicine. So I would say the most annoying part about those first few days is that they keep drainage tubes in you, because there is still a lot of fluid in there after the procedure. So they're literally tubes that are pretty much inside of you, and then these bags that you have to keep changing out, and then you have to keep cleaning the area. And it was so uncomfortable because it kind of pokes you. Like, ugh, I just hated that. Like if there was anything that I hated in the whole procedure, it was that time. But within a few days you can go to the hospital again, or you have another appointment and then they take the tubes out. So I was definitely ready for that. But I would say the first few days it was really hard to sleep. Obviously, like you can't really sleep on your side because you're like pressing down, so you kind of have to sleep on your back. So after the procedure I had a couple of appointments, so I had to keep going in just to make sure that everything was healing well. And I will say one of my breasts healed really quickly. Like the scars healed up really quickly. I didn't really have a lot of leaking there. And then the other one definitely took a lot longer to heal, and I thought that maybe something went wrong, but apparently it's normal to have fluid. So I had to wear a pad for a couple of weeks after the procedure, like maybe like 3-4 weeks. So I was so worried that something was going wrong, but I was communicating with my doctor the entire time, and he reassured me that, you know, everything looks good, like just keep changing the pad, keep the area dry and clean, and you know, within a couple of weeks it should close up and be just fine. And he was right, it eventually did close up. So I believe I had about 3 appointments, or maybe 4, like no more than 4 appointments after the procedure. So yeah, I would go in every few weeks, they would check if everything was okay, and eventually they said I wouldn't have to come until my 1-year checkup. So it's definitely getting closer to that now. So I guess now I'll go into what size I got, or people wonder like how small can you go. So the doctor did ask me before the procedure what size I wanted, or if there was a size in mind I had, but he also did advise that it wasn't advisable to go too small. So I decided to go for like a full C or a small D, like somewhere in between that. So it was one of those sizes that it's right in the middle. Like I'm not too small, I'm not too big. A lot of times I don't even have to wear a bra. Like this is just a size that I think fits my body perfectly, and that is what they ended up doing. So right now I pretty much wear a D. Yeah, like a D for the most part, like a small D cup. And the healing process was about 4 to 6 weeks. So during that time, you can't really lift anything heavy. You can't work out. Like for the most part, you just have to take it really easy. And I will say I was not that good at that. I'm someone who's always on the move. It was like week 1 and I was already trying to take walks around my neighborhood. And I regret doing that because I should have been resting. Like I definitely put too much on my body. And I remember just being so tired and weak and wondering why I wasn't healing quickly enough, but it was because I was forcing it. Like just listen to your body. If you need a couple of weeks to stay in bed, then definitely do that. Don't lift anything heavy. Don't walk if you don't have to. Like just stay in bed. relax. Like eventually you'll heal, and you heal a lot quicker as well when you're actually resting. But I feel like the biggest question people ask when you tell them you've done this procedure is it worth it? Do you regret it? And absolutely not. There has not been a single time, and I mean a single time, where I thought, oh my god, I miss my old body, I wish I never did this. Like, never. I promise you, you're not gonna think that. It is worth it. The healing time isn't that long. Yes, there's some pain, but it's very manageable if you're taking the medicine they prescribe you and you're resting. You will heal within a few weeks. It's a very quick turnaround. And yeah, it is just a life-changing procedure. Like, I 100% recommend this to people when they ask me. I tell them, at least get a consultation if you can, at least see your options. I know places also offer payment plans. Like, whatever it is, just take that first leap, because I know there are a lot of people who are like me, who just, you know, who are just like, one day I'll do this, or I'm just so uncomfortable with my body, and you know, you just never do anything about it. But if you can, just see what your options are, because there are many options. If I had just stopped at the first place I went to, I would have been $12,000 in debt. And who knows, I might have not even had the procedure right now. And it has just made me overall so much happier. I'm just someone who actually enjoys shopping now. Like, I can go into a store and find outfits that fit me. Like, that's just crazy. I spend so much of my life not fitting into things, or not feeling comfortable, feeling like a capital P, or looking like a capital P. Like, I just couldn't believe that I could go into a store and find my size with no issue, find bras with no issue, get clothes tailored with no issue. Like, it has just been the best thing I've ever done for myself in my life, and I have no regrets. Like, I'm just genuinely so much happier. I can't believe the girl who was, you know, wishing for this at 12 years old, as early as that age, finally has it. And thank God, also debt free from this. Like, it's just, this honestly has been the best thing to ever happen to me. So yeah, this video was really just to give you an idea of what led me to do it, what was my story, what was the healing process, and hopefully just to give you the push to do it if you're someone who has been considering it, but maybe you're scared, maybe you're not sure what to do. I really hope that this video will let you know that it is for sure worth it. So that is pretty much it for this video. I feel like I kind of touched most of the common questions that people have asked me about this procedure, but obviously if I didn't answer something that you've been wondering, then definitely drop the questions down below. I will answer all of them. Or if you want to DM me, of course, like I said, if you're more comfortable asking in private. So I post videos every Monday at 3 p.m. so please put the bell notification on so you can know whenever I post. And I hope that everyone is staying safe, taking care of their mental health, and I'll see you in my next video.